Hi, I'm Regina.
And I'm Lacey, and this is your behavior tip of the week.
Today we're going to be talking about quick tips for de-escalation.
So, the first thing to know about de escalation and de escalation strategies is looking at our precursor behaviors of our students. This is those times where we really need to make sure that we know our students and we're looking to see if any of these de escalation strategies might help to our students to regulate when they're starting to see those behaviors, such as making eye contact, using a child's name, and allow proximity or space. Sometimes giving a student just a little bit of space allows them to breathe deeply or take a moment to recollect themselves, and also use those nonverbal signals and be specific and give that praise when they calm down.
So 10 de-escalation strategies. One would be communication is key, however that is. We try to use sometimes less words when we're dealing with a student who's escalated. Sometimes that can just be communicating through gestures, communication through visuals, however works best for that student. You want to stay calm. That means not elevating your voice, not giving much of a reaction as the student is reacting. Assessing the situation. Again, this goes back to knowing the student. What do we know works for the student? Is this a student that I need to give space to? Maybe this is a student I need to slowly get closer to. Is this a student I can make eye contact with? Or is this a student I should avoid making eye contact with because that makes them escalate more? Is it a situation I might need to call for help? Setting clear boundaries is super important with the escalation. So your students know exactly what they can do in those moments. So that might be when we prompt them to use those de escalation strategies we've already taught them when they were in stable functioning and as they work within the perimeters of our classroom. So, for example, I might have a cool down zone that they are able to use while they're in the classroom. And while they're in that cool down zone, there's a timer that's set so they're not there all day, and setting those very specific boundaries for those de escalation strategies. Reflective listening. We're listening to really hear them and validate them. We might not always understand why our students are escalating, but they feel like they have a good reason, and that's what we need to acknowledge. So, actually, hearing what they're saying and helping them through that and talking to them through that without judgment or without putting our own feelings onto what they're going through. You want to provide reasonable options and choices. Like I said earlier, maybe you have a cool down corner, or maybe they have the opportunity to take a walk. So give them that choice, give them that option if that's something we know works for that student. You want to strive to gain success quickly. So we don't want to drag it out or make it, that they're in crisis, heading towards crisis for 45 minutes to an hour. We want to try to get them to respond as quickly as we can. Assist with coping skills. So, prompting them to take deep breaths if that's something that works for them, prompting them to move to the cool down area. Once they're in the cool down area, maybe they need help practicing those skills that we've worked on before. Using alternative activities. So, maybe I know that the math worksheet I presented is starting to escalate them. So maybe I can remove that, not forever, but for a few minutes and present something else, give them the option or the choice to do something else first if I know that is going to help de escalate them. And teamwork makes the dream work. For some of our kids, we might need to all work together into escalating them, work with the student as a team in their de escalation, do what we know works for them. We all de escalate in different ways. So, having the whole team on board with using those strategies so they're consistent for that student and working with the student and the other professionals in that is going to be more than beneficial for de escalating.
And next, this graphic here is talking about a little of those key points that we talked about today. But one of the things that we want to close out with is that last one that says debrief. It's really important every time a student is in a state of escalation, or when a student even has precursor behaviors and we're able to kind of de-escalate them effectively, we want to make sure that we meet with our team, even if it's in a Google Doc, just jotting down what we did in the moment, what was happening prior to the behaviors, and what was successful and what was not successful, because that's going to help all of the people that are interacting on your team with the student.
Okay. And of course, we wait until they're already regulated or they're coming back down to do that debrief and talk about what we could have done differently, how we felt things worked, and everything like that. But yes, a very good point. That is a major part that we need to focus on when we're talking about the cycle of crisis. Thank you.